like blurry with like the yellow shirt, this blurred out face. Usually all my voice is like, that's good. Oh yeah. Michael, game diff?
I say they could ask. Stands now,
Welcome to Lecco, Italy. Two teams battling for domination here in the semifinals of the Open Division. Revolver versus Bravo. I'm Brian Jones with Liam Rosen on Sky Magazine's coverage of the 2014 World Ultimate Club Championships here in Lecco, Italy. A beautiful sight here today. A little bit of a breeze as we get going. Liam, it's going to be great to be here and a great game started. We have Revolver in the red, Johnny Bravo in the white, and let's take a look at our Sky Magazine keys to the game. Starting with Johnny Bravo, who's got a lot of superstars, a lot of recruitment. First thing they're going to have to do is contain Bo, Liam.
Bo Kittredge, widely regarded the best player in the game, a feared deep cutter. He has been said to be uncontainable. Talking to Bravo coach before the game, they said they're going to try out a lot of different players on him and see what works.
And for the rest of it, it's about managing the cooks. And what do we mean when we're talking about that? Bravo had a lot of superstar talent come in. Sean Keegan, Brett Matzuka, Brody Smith, Kirk Gibson. A lot of these players are going to have to figure out how to manage them. And looking on the other side, we see Revolver in the red with their keys to the game, IHD, intensity, humility, and discipline, their motto as a team.
That motto, we talked to Coach Mike Payne before the game, asked if he was one of the original members who came up with it. He said that it had been lost in the annals of history, that he did sort of know the origin. He wasn't going to reveal it to us. They also need to execute well on their deep game, something they didn't do when they faced Bravo earlier this year and lost at the U.S. Open.
And we're off with the opening possession going to Bravo in the white, Revolver in the red, and former Revolver player Bart Watson to Forche. Swing to Keegan. See a lot of versatility with this offense throughout the game. Keegan, Matzuka, freedom to go wherever they wish. Not pure handlers on the field. Swing to Keegan, high. Evangelides giving chase. Ream on the sideline. Back to Watson. Watson goes deep for Mickle. Win with the layout. Mickle with the first point of the game.
Jimmy Mickle showing why he was the Callahan winner in the Open Division at College Nationals this year.
Colorado, his team, winning the title. And Mickle trying to do another clean sweep of the titles this year. College Nationals, we take a look here. The replay provided by Luke Johnson in the slow motion camera. Russell Wynn diving past, and Mickle gets it for the first goal.
Jimmy Mickle's Mama Bird team provides a lot of the philosophy that Johnny Bravo holds dear. As we take another look, the layout from Mickle. Mama Bird taking a relaxed style to the game. They were frequently seen on the sidelines with an American football, throwing it around, seemingly unconcerned about the outcome. And Bravo has tried to take some of those tenets in, bringing a fun but quiet intensity to their play.
And we'll see the Revolver offensive line out for the first time. Cahill, Kittredge. Cahill replacing Ashlyn Joy. Cahill taking a year off before coming back. And Cassie Rasmussen, Kittredge connecting with Rasmussen to end their quarterfinal. They win 17-16 against Clapham. A game Mike Payne, coach, talked to us about, saying they weren't ready for the deep game of Clapham.
Brian, that was one of the most exciting finishes I have seen. Bo Kittredge with the flick huck deep for the win to Cassidy Rasmussen.
Cahill finding Kittredge. They love to use him in isolation, and he's not afraid to throw it deep if you give him a clean shot. To Schlackett up the line. Schlackett. Cahill swings, wearing the old number of joy. Usually he's donning the number 10. Schlag waves off Sanchez. Looking for an option. Kittredge back for the reset, marked by Sneeder. Ilka Sneeder has a lot of experience marking up against Kittredge while he was on Sockeye and, of course, on Bravo.
Sneeder is about the closest thing you're going to get to a Bo Kittredge anywhere else in the men's division.
Schlackett flips it to Kittredge for the goal.
There's a call on the play. I believe there's a pick call in the end zone before that disc was scored.
Go back to Schlackett. Notable matchups on the field. Gibson and Cahill matched up. Cahill, one of the field generals that we've seen throughout Ultimate, making the right decision most often. Schlag to Cahill.
Mike Payne called him the hub, or the king of the field. Cahill frustrated by Gibson's foul on the mark.
Gibson and Cahill went toe-to-toe back in 2012 and also as teammates at the last Worlds. Gibson tearing his PCL in Sakai, then coming back to win the club championships with double wide. Cahill flips it. Schlackett guides it through 1-1.
So Revolver answers early with one of their own. San Francisco Revolver, the closest thing one's going to find these days to a powerhouse program in the United States and in the world. They're looking to defend their World Ultimate Club Championships title, which they gained in 2010.
Revolver has been part of the last 5 USA Ultimate National Championship finals, winning 3 of them, losing 2, once losing to Chain in 2009. And we talked to head coach Mike Payne about that game, specifically Cahill and Mark Sherwood, now retired, played a lot of those points, and it's transitioned to what Revolver's philosophy is nowadays, which is utilizing that defensive depth.
They have a very deep team. They try to play all 27 players all throughout the tournament. They've got some very nice pickups this year out of the college division. Eli Kearns, Jordan Marcy, a second-year player out of Stanford. Simon Higgins out of Las Positas College.
A lot of Southwest influence. Natsuka feels the pull to Josh Ackley. Ring clears out. Watson wide open underneath. And the classic high release backhand from Ackley. Lance. Callahan winner for Georgia Tech back in 2011. Flips it high for Mickle. Mickle, call on the field. Get picked down in the stack.
Mickle matching up against next-gen teammate Eli Kearns out of UC Davis. One of the most advanced players I've ever seen in the college game during his tenure. He graduated this past year.
Matsuka loves the hammer. Looking for an option. Goes back to Watson with Wynn giving chase. Give and go. Matsuka, formerly of Ring of Fire, played with the DC Breeze this last season in the AUDL. Matsuka also playing for NC State and going to nationals back in his college days. Watson with the around flick to Mickle for the goal.
And Eli Kearns, the defender, did not see that throw coming. Bart Watson bringing his years of experience to this Bravo team, facing off against his former teammates from San Francisco Revolver. He helped lead them to a world championship in Sakai in 2012.
2-1, no defensive breaks, no turnovers as we start off this game. Take a look at the Revolver offense coming onto the field. Chris Kasednar coming over from Sockeye this season. Cassidy Rasmussen from UC Santa Cruz. Robbie Cahill played his days at Stanford. Bo Kittredge, part of some national championships. Played also with Johnny Bravo, losing in 2007 to Sockeye.
Revolver and Bravo had the best recruiting classes this year in the Open Division. Revolver's tryouts, word on the street, were more competitive than ever. Players trying to make this team to get into Worlds. There was so much talent to choose from. They did have a couple players that chose not to play this season. Mac Taylor, their defensive handler, playing this year in the mixed division for Blackbird. And Aslan Joy, a familiar face to those who follow the AUDL, got into med school. His first 2 weeks of medical school were during the tournament, so having to sit this one out, Robbie Cahill has stepped into his role.
Kittredge looks deep, now back to Schlag. Wiseman. Cassidy. Marked up by Farrell, World Games player. Cassidy dishes off to Schlag. Marked by Brody Smith. Back to Cassidy Rasmussen to the end zone for Wiseman. Revolver ties it at 2.
No turnovers so far in this game for either team. Offense is clicking, and ladies and gentlemen, you are watching 54 of the most elite players in the world battle it out in the semifinals of the World Ultimate Club Championships. Liam Rosen here with Brian Jones. We're going to be following on Twitter as we watch the game from the commentary booth, so feel free to send your tweets over as we take a look at this replay. The around flick break from Rasmussen to Josh Wiseman.
Yeah, you can tweet at us and Sky_Liam Rosen to find me, Brian Jones, at no_look_scuba. You can see on the screen. We'd be happy to hear your thoughts and give you some shout-outs throughout this game. Highly anticipated matchup. We were hoping that this may be the finals, but with the way the seeding went, we saw Ironside falter the Buzz Bullets falter then to Johnny Bravo. Revolver having to win in quarterfinals over Clapham 17-16. Bravo taking care of business pretty easily, 17-11 over the Buzz Bullets. Watson puts it deep for Mickle. Dahlman giving chase. Mickle. Dahlman!
Never underestimate the vertical leap, as it looks like Dahlman injured himself on that D. He's holding his head. Team sports chiropractor Malika Anderson comes in to take a look at Lucas Dahlman. It looks like he's okay. He's going to be getting up. Dahlman, what a fantastic effort to get the D on Jimmy Mickle.
Cassidy Rasmussen will come in, and Gibson walking across the field. Looks like Ryan Farrell will actually come on for Owen Westbrook for Bravo. Both of these teams coming undefeated into this matchup. No losses. Revolver being tested by Clapham, as we've talked about. First turnover of the game. Revolver with the first chance to break. Canner isolated. A lot of space to roam against his former teammate Watson, and going deep for Canner right away. Hanging. Canner can't run it down. Lance quickly dishes it to Watson. Finds Keegan. Keegan, formerly of University of Delaware. Travel called.
And lucky for Patrick Bayless, as Brett Matsuka had him beat underneath.
Canner, a little bit of a fire starter. Revolver usually calm, but Canner is probably the most agitating one of all. Squirrely handler defender. Played for Carleton. Lance lays out, keeps possession. Mickle. Matsuka finds Keegan in the end zone, toes the line, 3-2.
So Bravo maintaining possession. Still no breaks, but a couple quick turnovers from both teams after the huck attempt from Bart Watson.
Watson has actually been known to throw a couple of turnovers. He's a very experienced player. He's won championships with Jam in 2008, going on with Revolver in 2010 and 2011, coming over from that now defunct Jam team, looking for another championship. Said it looked like a lot of fun to play with these Johnny Bravo guys once again after playing last season and falling in the semifinals. He will take risks, but most of the time he's the man you want taking those risks. Excellent throws into the wind.
Bart Watson, incidentally, might have the coolest job in Ultimate. Off the field, he's a staff economist at the Brewers Association of America.
Doesn't get much better than that. Revolver centers to this Cahill. Cahill finds Rasmussen. Sanchez stretches. And steep poaching going on downfield by McShane of Johnny Bravo. Sneeder and Kittredge matched up. Sneeder lays out and Kittredge puts it for Cassie Rasmussen. Peterson is there. And Rasmussen is injured. Rolled over the shoulder and the head.
Again, trainer Malika Anderson comes in. I was talking to Malika before the game. I saw her doing some exercises on the sideline. She's like, well, I keep getting so motivated by these guys warming up. I want to do some of my own, but they keep getting injured so much I have to come in and help them.
Legs curl up underneath, get stuck in the mud. We did have torrential rains at the start of this tournament, which canceled Sunday, an abbreviated schedule. You can see that the field has mostly dried out and been flattened multiple times by a roller. They're going to take a look at Rasmussen's ankle. He's flexing it currently on the ground. Peterson with the D. Peterson, recent graduate of Colorado, made some fantastic plays en route to the title. Rasmussen would be a big loss for this Revolver squad. He caught the game-winning point in the quarterfinal. They won nationals without him last year as due to injury. This is a deep Revolver team, but without Joy, definitely losing some firepower. And Bravo's turn for their first shot at a break. Peterson to Mickle. Marked by Jeffrey. Mickle going deep to Sneeder. Kittredge giving chase. Sneeder boxes out for the goal. And Kittredge, no foul call. Or is there? Sneeder and Kittredge talking it out.
Both graduates of University of Colorado. Mama Bird. Gonna go to the game advisor who will clarify the rule, Greg Connolly. For those tuning in for the first time, these WFDF game advisors are a new initiative from the World Flying Disc Federation. They are allowed to simply clarify the ruling. They are not permitted to give their opinions on whether a foul occurred or not. That will be a contested foul.
Go back to Mickle. Mickle playing with Sneeder. Sneeder also a Colorado Mama Bird graduate from the Netherlands, attending med school. Nickname actually given to him by, I think, Cassie Rasmussen back in the college days of Nightmare after watching him bid.
Sneeder's been living in the Netherlands for the past few years, back in his native country. He was the star of the exciting windmill windup final we saw last year, playing for the American pickup team.
Gibson, high release on a high stall situation to McShane. Peterson.
Pit call in the stack.
None of these players I don't think will be nervous. Almost all of them have played in big games, and coming into this round this season in the USA Ultimate, US Open, Revolver took the title, went 1-1 after losing to Bravo in pool play. Dropped by Mickle. Cassender picks up. Kittredge tries to turn it around quickly, off balance.
That's something that happens a lot with Bo. The one weakness in his game is when he tries to throw a forehand off of catching a swing pass. I saw him do that twice in the finals of Layout last year, the beach tournament in San Francisco. I think sometimes he gets tired and just doesn't keep his balance.
Going deep for Peterson. Has Gibson. Looking for an option. Morrissey. Mickle. Fakes hammer and goes out to Clore. Clore. Bravo breaks.
So Bravo nearly losing it. Stanley Peterson tries to push past the throw to Mickle, but Bo turns it over going the other way.
Talking to Mike Payne before the game, and a coach of the Revolver is talking about throwing fundamentals, saying that they think throwing happens from the waist down. You can see Bo on that turnaround flick, a little off balance, overextended with his legs, not able to deliver the throw for the wide open receiver in the end zone. Take a look here at the block. Dahlman coming up with it.
So Lucas Dahlman, 2 big defensive plays early.
Offensive line back out. And we see on the defensive side for Johnny Bravo as Kittredge and Cahill talk it over. Nick Lance coming over from the offensive side. Will Lockey, Brody Smith, Stanley Peterson staying on. Henry Conker.
You talk about the offensive line, Brian. When we spoke to Coach Mike Payne for Revolver before the game, he told us that going into the Clapham game, which Revolver eked out on Universe Point, the offensive line had only played about 15 points all week. So they keep very strict offensive defensive lines. They've been letting the D guys play just because Revolver hasn't had that many close games.
Cahill flips it to Kittredge. A little bit of a mess with Schlockett. Finding Wiseman. You don't see too many 5'6" players in the game. Wiseman is one of them, and the reason is that top-end speed is so difficult to guard. Looking now for Cahill. Fakes. Finding Schlag. Schlag in a layout deep from behind, but it's going to be a foul call going through the back.
Take another look at that D. It's hard to get a good read on that one as Josh Richter Ackley going crazy in the background, pumping his team up.
And here they'll talk to Greg Connolly, USA Ultimate Observer, but now a game advisor. And a foul is ruled. It will stay with Schlag. Slachett, excuse me.
Just a score update, Brian, in the mixed division. The mixed semifinals are going on right now. Dragon Thrust is up 16-12 on the Ghosts. Team Fisher-Price is up 13-12 on Polar Bears.
Play yet to restart. Lance on Cahill. Cahill. Looking back, finding Kittredge. And another call, back to Cahill. Some more discussion, more concerns over violations. Revolver team has undergone transition after transition and been back better than ever, winning that national championship last season. A field of new recruits, Boucher. Cahill, Kittredge, inside, Boucher to the end zone, clap catch for the goal, Wiseman.
Evan Boucher has been a standout player on Revolver. This is his second year on the team. Moved to San Francisco recently from Louisville, Kentucky. He really shined in the offseason, actually playing for the first iteration of the San Francisco Dogfish. He was named MVP of that team. A lot of the Revolver guys didn't show up to play due to conflicts with the World Games, and Evan Boucher was the player that really stepped it up for Revolver.
Pro League has offered a lot of opportunities for players, and we saw this in World Juniors. A lot of those players getting the opportunity to play pro, and especially in cities with 2 pro teams, a wide variety of talent being attracted. Take a look at the goal. Wiseman watches it come through.
Revolver going for the double peak, winning Worlds and trying to make a Nationals run after that.
They tried unsuccessfully in 2012. They did it in 2010 in Prague, and then winning the championship. Watson will take the disc. On the field, back with Matsuka and Ryan Morgan, formerly of Pony. Lance, Reem, Mickle, and Keegan downfield. Talking to Mike Payne before the game, they talked about this host stack where Bravo likes to run a lot of set plays. Revolver maybe using a little bit of transition defense to stop that. He said that they were from Canadian offensive set plays, which have become more popularized. Goat running a split stack, Furious, the U23 teams, national teams for Canada, running a lot of clear outs. Reem to Lance. Lance has thrown a couple of turnovers in the last game against the Buzz Bullets that were uncharacteristic. He has the flashy throws, most notably the scoober to the break side of the field. Lance marked by White. Finding Matsuka. Matsuka, Lance goes up line, hops it in. Bravo still up a break.
Not sure if I like that Nathan White matchup on Nick Lance. Lance was able to get open at will for Bravo's offense. Bravo's still up 5-3.
Nick Lance, more of a squirrely handler type, or we can talk about different positions. A true hybrid in the game. Big thrower, not afraid to go up and cut. White at 6'4", big mark, known for his speed and his throws upwind.
Many of the players on Revolver defensive line played together in the San Francisco Flamethrowers semi-pro American Ultimate Disc League team. As you mentioned, there are 3 professional franchises in San Francisco. Many players on Revolver were split between the 3 teams, the Dogfish of the MLU and the Flamethrowers and Spiders of the AUDL.
Defensive line out. Gibson getting set to pull. Sneeder, Farrell, Peterson, Clore, Gregerson. Offense back out in the field for Revolver. Sednar back to take it and center to Cahill. Cahill. Farrell reads the play going to Schlag and cuts it off. And Revolver is operating in the back of their own end zone. Cahill jacks it deep for Higgins. Snyder giving chase. Higgins got the step. Higgins! Rasmussen back in the game. Sanchez to Higgins.
That's that Las Positas College connection. Marcelo Sanchez to Simon Higgins, both players out of LPC. Sanchez's second year on the team and Higgins' first year.
Great to see Cassidy Rasmussen back in this game. This is an opportunity, like you said, 54 of the best Ultimate players in the world. You want this game to be about players making plays, not about the injuries. Seeing Rasmussen back in and operating, he's one of those squirrely handler types as well. Zips across the field.
Revolver has really done a great job of incorporating young talent. That's been a change in philosophy from their earlier years. Many critics feared that they would face a difficult time after losing lots of talent going into the 2013 season, but they really relied on the play of their rookies like Jordan Marcy, Evan Boucher, and Marcelo Sanchez to lead them to another title.
Matsuka fields it and sends it to Watson. Vertical stack. Lands bust deep. Now comes back under and a pick in the stack. Under whiff diff rules, I believe this will go back. Maybe the disc was already in the air. So Lance will keep it. Lance formerly playing for Chain Lightning out of Atlanta, originally from Houston. Matsuka went over to Australia for a little while to play. Scuba to Watson. Watson makes the catch. Some of the Revolver players on the sideline saying it was down, but no call from the field. And Keegan saying can't talk, has to call, has to come from the field. Westbrook will take it at the sideline. Russell Wynn was Cassie Rasmussen's teammate back in college. They played an amazing game to get to nationals one year. And an injury, Wynn is down on the ground. Did he get hit with a disc? Wynn actually playing against San Diego State, Tim Gilligan. They were down 14-11 at one point, rallying back to win the game.
I believe that was in the 2011 Southwest Regionals game to go. The full game is actually up on YouTube if you want to take a look at it. Highly recommended game.
Rasmussen with some outrageous catches. Westbrook gets it to Ream. So we go back to the action. Ream to Mickle. So close. Kittredge on the field playing defense. The old Mama Bird versus the new. Swing pass to Westbrook, to Matsuka for the score.
And a risky crossfield pass as Sam Canner laying out, almost got a hand on it.
Kittredge winning a national championship back in 2006. Excuse me, 2004 actually. And they lost to Brown 2005. Florida taking it in 06. Wisconsin going for back-to-back national championships. And after that, a lot of these players that played during those times are on the field today. Gibson winning with Tim Garrett, who just recently retired, and Brody Smith back in 2006. Will Lockey winning back-to-back national championships. He's on the field now defensively for Bravo with the red headband. Gibson set to pole. Sedner to field in the back of the end zone. Defense. We're down in Revolver once again. Operating outside the end zone. Last time it was a deep shot to Higgins to relieve the pressure.
We're going to see a zone from Bravo.
Trying to poach away from this Revolver defense and slow them down.
There's one person you want to break open a zone, though. It's Robbie Cahill. So much calm. Ripping that zone apart like it's tissue paper.
Wiseman to Schlockett. And transitioning to man defense. Bravo. Set up. Cahill. Looks for an option back. To Sednar. Inside break to Schlockett. Rasmussen. And a call on the play going back to Schlockett. Travel ruled by You can see the game advisors giving out helpful hand signals here today. Byron Hicks in the yellow. Greg Connolly on the far side of the field. Flip and turnover. Missed throw there. Bad execution by Revolver. Forche to the end zone and turfs the disc. Thought for sure he might have been fouled on that, but poor execution.
That's the second sequence, Brian, where we've seen a quick series of turnovers, one after another for both teams. So Revolver with another chance.
Cahill and more zone. A very wide four-person cup. Gibson and Forche back and Sneeder deep. Boucher, Rasmussen. Cahill through to Wiseman. Boucher. Transitioning back to man defense. Boucher to Cahill. Cahill with that quick first step, so difficult to guard. Inside break to Higgins. Snyder around. Can't get the block. Boucher to Sednar. To Wiseman. Toes the line. And ruling out, this is a call that the game advisor can consult on. Give his opinion. He was right there. Greg Connolly. McShane calling Wiseman out. Take a moment and restart. Wiseman. Flips it back. Cahill. Around. Kasednar. Had Boucher. Cahill. Back to Rasmussen. Schlockett. Cahill. Looking for the swing. Rasmussen has a lot of break space. Not much movement from the cutters downfield or all at once. Rasmussen. Inside to Higgins. To Sednar.
There's no continue cut for the swings for Revolver. Sednar with it 3 meters out of the end zone. But it's chaos right in front of him.
Flips it up to Higgins. Higgins comes down with it.
And when you have a tall receiver like Simon Higgins, you can afford to do that. Higgins, a gold medalist with the under-23 mixed national team in Toronto. Successfully coming off a mixed season with the Polar Bears. Revolver took him on this year as he's added some valuable height to their lineup.
Higgins, no problem going over the equally as big Hilke Schnieder.
Just an update from the mixed division. We're going to see Dragon Thrusts versus Polar Bears in the World Ultimate Club Championships final tomorrow. That's a rematch of the mixed championship at USA Ultimate Club Championships last year.
Bo comes on the field for the defensive opportunity. Games of 17 today, cap at 100 minutes. Moving at a great pace. Looks like we'll avoid a cap situation. Gilligan gets set to pull. One of the players coming out of the Southwest region, which is just an absolute bloodbath year after year, with so many teams in the top 30, but so few bids. Ackley finding Mickle. To Lance. Mickle. The Callahan Award winners exchange give and goes. Ream looking for an option. Canner matched up with Mickle. Call on the play. Mickle had some problems with the physical marks from Revolver last game. Here on the mic in the U.S. Open, saying that he was getting hit every time he caught the disc. Mickle. Watson. Back to Matsuka. Revolver bringing a lot of man-to-man defensive pressure. Watson trying to relieve that pressure, goes to Mickle. Mickle through the crowd.
Adjustment needed as two Revolver defenders thought that this was going deep.
Finding Keegan in the back of the end zone. Mickle through the parting of the Red Sea. The defender's unaware of where the disc is. And we'll take a look here. Bravo goes up 7-5, keeps that one break advantage.
People criticize Bart Watson at times for taking too many risks. It works out for him. Watson and Mickle were both on the roster of the U.S. All-Star team that was invited to play in Japan at the Dream Cup. If you're looking for an exciting game to watch, check out the footage of the U.S. All-Stars versus the Japanese.
Players on both sides invited. Cochran making a ridiculous D, and just an awareness that Martin Cochran has with experience, number 64 on Revolver. Hasn't played too much.
There was speculation that Cochran was going to retire this year. He actually did step away from Revolver last year and returned halfway through the season. But recently married, so congratulations, Martin Cochran, on that. And has been with this Revolver team for many years, moving out from his days as a grad student player. Also, teammate of Kittredge, Ackley at the University of Colorado, Mama Bird.
Kittredge not on the field on offense, and Jeffrey stepping on. Kittredge deciding to play the last several defensive points as more zone, more poaching by Bravo as they transition quickly. And in the back of their own end zone again, Sanchez finds Cahill. They've talked about it before that Bo kind of is the rule breaker for this Revolver squad. And in this case, often makes the call whether or not he's ready to go on defense. Trying to get that break back for Revolver, sensing that it may be a difficult task later on. Schlag sends it deep for Rasmussen. Conker giving chase. Hanging. Conker. Rasmussen gets a tip on it. Can't reel it in.
Henry Conker, always very active on defense. Conker had a nice layout grab in the regionals final. Bravo versus Double Wide. Look that clip up on video. Really just ample video footage out now of all these players doing their thing, and we're hoping to catch a lot more on today.
And Bravo utilizes a lot of times directly behind Dump. This time Farrell goes out wide. Floor. Out of Mama Bird. Floor fouled by Higgins. Smith back in the handler role. Smith formerly of Double Wide, also Vicious Cycle, playing in the AUDL. Out to Smith. Smith loves the huck. Finding Gibson wide open all alone. Gibson flips it. Farrell to Gibson, the give go. To the end zone, another break for Bravo.
Gibson off of 1 foot, not even hesitating to put the high release backhand right into the end zone. What started that off was Brody Smith to Kirk Gibson, the double wide connection.
And we've seen it out of Gibson as well to run a D-line by himself. The give and go, get it up the line in a free break. Two receivers open, Morrissey and Clore, teammates at Colorado. You see the block by Conker. Great positioning. That was part of the game plan for Revolver, was to take the hucks when Bravo was giving it to him. Bravo has also seemed to adjust, learning from those battles at the U.S. Open in Minneapolis. That was over July 4th weekend. Winner of this likely to face the winner of Sockeye versus Colony. See if the lone non-American team can pull out an upset. keep tabs on that throughout this game.
Looks like the game started late, so no score updates from Sockeye Colony so far.
Make sure to tweet at us, Brian Jones at no_look_scuba. We want to hear from you. Shout outs, and look for Liam Rosen at Sky_Liam Rosen on Twitter. We had plenty of people up for the women's semifinal tweeting at us, but nobody right now. And I'm sure on both coasts in America, they're eagerly watching this game. Cahill finding Rasmussen. Kittredge back on offense. Marked by Sneeder. Finding Cahill. Wiseman. Boucher shovels it over to Rasmussen. Back to Boucher. Slices it to the end zone. Revolver keeping pace.
Easy offensive point for Revolver. Now their D-line needs to go to work and get them a couple breaks back.
This Bravo team with a great game plan coming into it have forced Revolver to send it deep several times, and normally when you're sending it deep to players like Simon Higgins and Cassie Rasmussen, it's going to work out, but the depth that Bravo has, talking to Coach Bob Cryer before the game, saying that Revolver has a lot of depth. They felt that they also had a lot of depth with all the talent they have, that they can put them into roles, not worry about managing all of those cooks in the kitchen. They can just go deeper if need be. Take a look here, give and go.
And again, Rasmussen doing a lot of work for Revolver's offense.
He's played a lot of defensive points as well. Looks like we'll have a timeout on the field. Both teams want to think about it as it is a point for half for Bravo. This is Sky Magazine's coverage of the 2014 World Ultimate Club Championships. We'll be back after the timeout. Revolver looking to break to try to eat up some of this deficit before halftime. Halftime will be at 9, game to 17. Eli Kearns with the disc getting set to Paul Canner on the field, as well as Kittredge, Wynn, Leahy, Evangelides, and Rio Kuoka. Pull to Matsuka. Watson. Up to Lance. Mickle is going deep, and Lance putting it up. Kittredge giving chase. Kittredge versus Mickle. Kittredge gets the D.
Bo Kittredge coming over the top with the height. That disc floated out a bit too much, and Jimmy had to slow down to try to make a play on it.
Normally, that's a great connection, Lance to Mickle. As we take a look, Bo Kittredge is an elite athlete. There's a lot of discussion about if elite athletes made it into the game, and looking at the numbers of what he has in terms of the standing broad jump and all of his other times. Kittredge, the fastest man coming out of Alaska, entering the Olympic trials. By all accounts, Kittredge is an elite athlete. DeLahey. Win. Kuoka. Poachy defense here from Bravo, doing a lot of switching, even off the turn. Mickle man back against Kittredge. Canner. Kittredge. Kittredge going deep. Wide open is Evangelides.
Bo Kittredge's long game has been on point so far this tournament.
Canner flips it. Evangelides. Revolver breaks back.
Other teams don't respect Bo enough. They think he's not going to throw the disc deep. He proves them wrong. Brian, we were watching the quarterfinal against Clapham. Bo, no problem. Last point of the game. Doesn't even think about ripping a flick hook from midfield for Cassidy Rasmussen. Cassidy Rasmussen to run down for the win.
3 times the charm.
Sorry, Cassidy. So Revolver getting a point back. So we see here again from another angle the D from Bo Kittredge.
And you were right, though, about that throw in the Clapham game. We were right on the sideline and thought the throw might be coming right at us. We had the best view in the house. Watch Rasmussen run it down.
And Bo tends to throw those flick hooks very high release, so they'll curve back in eventually. And looking at Skide Magazine, one of our columnists, Lou Burris, talks about the rule breakers. Bo Kittredge, certainly a rule breaker for this team, basically given the authority to impuniously throw anything he wants.
Canner pulls again, Kittredge back on the field, and Cahill as well. Centers to Watson. Vertical stack, finds Morgan. Morgan, another newcomer, not talked about with all the other superstars being added. Lance to Watson. Watson back to Lance. Canner gives chase. Puts it into Morgan. Just a give and go with Nick Lance. The around. The technique that he has with his pivoting, you can see in a rise up in the next gen season. Nick Lance practices slow pivoting to keep balance throughout the motion. It'll quickly pivot back and forth if you're a young player. Mike Payne talked about this too on Revolver. Turnover, Ream looking for Watson, too far.
Watson was standing a bit close to Ream, and Ream with a little too much touch.
Putting it out for Dahlman, Ream. Pushes in Dahlman, I wouldn't be surprised to see a foul call here.
I'm not sure if Ream got injured on that. He's laying down.
He does look hurt.
Both players having a chat, and it's going to be a nice, relaxed foul call chat here in Lecco, Italy in the end zone.
See Ream get some contact. And Ream had position, but couldn't manage to not initiate it.
Dahlman and Ream look like they're having a picnic out there. Finally get up.
No foul. If anything, Dahlman may have not had a chance at the disc.
I think Ream did a good job of bodying Dahlman out before the play even occurred.
Watson. Finding Clore to Watson. Watson, inside out foot to Lance, but right to Canner. Kittredge. Rasmussen.
And how many times have we seen this? One break begets another as a foul will certainly be called on the late bid from Lance.
Lance actually got disc, but had to go through Dahlman to get it. Certainly a foul, but just the athleticism by Nick Lance to even try to create that play. Look at this right here, Rasmussen and Lance playing between two players, comes off the poach. Nick Lance spins through the air. Right into the back of Dahlman.
So Lucas Dahlman, 2 tough plays for him. This possession, he will take an injury sub. And he'll be replaced by Simon Higgins.
And a sub for Bravo. Ryan Farrell will come on. Canner discussing the positioning of where Ream was at the time of the play. And play will restart. Higgins finds Canner.
Warte mal, Alex.
Back to Win. Chance for Revolver to tie this game after being down a couple of breaks. Win putting it deep for Kittredge. Kittredge all alone. Back of the end zone for the score.
Revolver evens it up after being down by 3.
8-8. Bravo offense reeling after a couple of mistakes, and the defensive pressure has been amped up, and Watson will call the timeout for Johnny Bravo. This is Sky Magazine's coverage here of the Open semifinal, the 2014 World Ultimate Club Championships. I'm Brian Jones with Liam Rosen. We'll be back in a bit.
I was shocked when I saw them playing yesterday, like around noon. No. That is so weird. I don't get that either. I just cannot believe you don't play. That's the final lap.
Sky Magazine がお送りしました。
Sky Magazine.
Sky Magazine!
Sky Magazine.
Sky D!
Meine Aufgabe ist dastehen und gut aussehen.
Es gibt Magazine! Guacamayas!
Sky Magazine.
Back in action, first half here in the Open semifinals. I'm Brian Jones with Liam Rosen. Be sure to tweet at us on Twitter at @no_look_scuba and Sky_Liam Rosen. Bravo was up 8-5. Revolver has closed the gap by 3, and they've done it with their defense. High pressure, high intensity, and relying on Bo Kittredge to make some big plays.
In our keys to the game, when the game started, we said that Bravo would have to find a way to contain Kittredge. So far, they've tried different players on him. I think Hilka Sneeder has been the best matchup so far.
Also, Kittredge going in on defense in a different type of containment. So he's been able to get the D. Lance finding Keegan. Gibson on offense for the first time this game to Mickle. In the old and the new Colorado and Bravo, Jimmy Mickle, the new generation of Colorado Mama Bird. Kittredge representing the old. Lance calling the play, picking the stack. This one will be for half at 9, game to 17. Lance looking back for Watson. Looked like that might be another error. Call on the play, pick downfield. As the semifinals have just ended in the mixed division, we expect more people to fill up around here. You can see the crowd has gathered for the most part throughout this game.
Polar Bears in a tight final against Team Fisher-Price from Canada, winning 17-16 to advance to the finals against Dragon Thrust.
Mickle high, arcing blade. Keegan bobbles. Finds Gibson wide open. Has to run it down. Bravo takes half, 9-8.
Sean Keegan doesn't think twice after bobbling the disc. Easy catch. And flip to Kurt Gibson. So Bravo answers with one of their own. They'll take half, 9-8.
Two new players, Keegan from the University of Delaware and playing for Truck Stop for a long time, being the mainstay, finding Gibson, who's also been a mainstay on double wide, playing in the past a vicious cycle. Also played in the San Jose Spiders, winning the AUDL championship with Bo Kittredge. As we get to half, and Revolver closing the gap. At first we thought Bravo was beginning to run away. They slowly built their lead when Revolver got it all at once. Kittredge getting the D, and then high pressure situations, forcing Bravo to make some short passes. So far, they have been unable to completely contain the monster that is Bo Kittredge.
And Bo, as you said, pretty much has free reign. He generally is on the offensive line. But whenever he wants to go on defense, he sees himself fit to go on, and he's been very big on defense with the key block on Jimmy Mickle that allowed Revolver to get one break back.
And they able to close that gap, put it back 9-8. We have a game to 17. Talk a little bit more about those rule breakers that Lou Burris has talked about, and Bravo and Revolver having a little bit of a different time because Bravo has just had so much creativity in who's coming back as a handler that really the only set position in an offensive line is Jesse Ream, which is as the fourth cutter, whose job is to simply cut deep the majority of the time or relieve pressure. So Matt Zuka could be going deep. Nick Lance, Bart Watson can play. On time center of the disc. Watson often a cutter when he was with the Revolver, getting isolated. Looking to throw deep to Bo. And we're going to soon go down to a huddle with Revolver here at Sky Magazine. Be sure to stay tuned as we provide some halftime coverage. We'll be back in a few minutes ourselves with Liam Rosen. I'm Brian Jones. We'll be back for second half action here on Sky Magazine.
Violation.
Go!
Bravo.
Timeout.
Elliot and I coming down here had sort of developed a plan, and we want Milwaukee to win nationals.
Come up. Come up.
Excuse me, this is our film right here, so you can stand here.
What's more embarrassing, bottom bracket with all the ringers or getting disqualified? Disqualified after the fact. No, but then their ranking gets really small. Like the Italian juniors, his ranking is now this small. I did back then. Someone was making it. Oh, it's right here. I see the one. Hey, we have to do a big camera. Really good. Right now. That's not JCM. Stand up.
I'll give her the option of what's
Oh no, Marshall will be drunk today. Hey, the real question is one shot. That's nothing. That's just like
We're back here in Lecco, Italy for second half action here at the 2014 World Ultimate Club Championships. I'm Brian Jones here with Liam Rosen on Sky Magazine's coverage of the Open semifinal. Johnny Bravo leads 9-8 over Revolver. And let's take a look at our keys to the game brought to you by Sky Magazine. The beginning of this game, Bravo, talking about it before, Liam, containing Bo. They haven't done the greatest job of doing that.
And it's been hard for them to contain Bo because Bo has been playing defensive points. So going back to his original role where in his earlier days he wasn't much of a thrower, he's really stepped up his game and become more of an all-around athlete. He's gotten a couple of key blocks and has shut down some of Bravo's deep cutters.
Bo getting the D on Jimmy Mickle, part of one of the first breaks they got to help tie up this game late in the first half. Also for Bravo, they had to manage the cooks. Too many cooks in the kitchen could have been a concern. They bring in the superstars of Keegan, Gibson, Matsuka, but it's worked out so far with Gibson playing on sometimes both lines after the offense got broken. Taking a look now at the Revolver keys. Looking at IHD, the intensity, humility, and discipline, their cornerstones of their philosophy. Not sure that that's something that we can tell if they've done a good job at, but
I mean, how can you really quantify something like that? But at the same time, it doesn't matter. Just as a team, having an ethos is so important. And you could, intensity, humility, discipline, you can apply that to anything on the field. I think the most important part is that everyone on Revolver buys into a system. That's why they've been so successful over the past few years, bringing in some of their rookies and integrating them into that perfect system.
And Revolver trying to send it deep against this Bravo squad. Bravo has been prepared for that. Conquer getting a D on Rasmussen, and they'll continue to do so. Both teams have dynamic offenses. Gibson getting set to pull as the offense is out for Revolver. Game on serve, 9-8, game to 17. And we're about to start the second half here on Sky Magazine's coverage of the 2014 World Ultimate Club Championships. Offensive line out for Revolver. Schlockett, Sanchez, Higgins, Rasmussen, Cahill, Wiseman, and Kosednar, the first-year player from Sockeye, one of the most excellent handlers in the game, actually playing against Revolver last year in the finals. Higgins. Sednar in the backfield, finding Sanchez. Sanchez looks for Rasmussen. Rasmussen all alone, lays out for the score. Cassidy Rasmussen.
Sanchez not usually known for putting it deep, but with Rasmussen getting elevated, how can you blame him? So Marcelo Sanchez, he's been big this year in the AUDL, making some great plays on the receiving end, being trusted here, though, for the deep shot. And there it goes, our keys to the game, execute deep.
Revolver starting off the second half correctly. Taking a look at some other scores. Colony not in a good situation against Sockeye, missing some simple flicks to unders. Now down 8-3 after a 5-0 Seattle run. Looks like Sockeye will face the winner of this game unless Colony from Australia mounts a comeback. Johnny Bravo from the Denver area. Revolver out of San Francisco. Bravo in the white on offense. Metzuka out with Forche, Ream, Lance, Mickle, Westbrook, and Watson.
We're also going to be keeping an eye on the Masters semifinals, which are going on right now. Boneyard from North Carolina versus Johnny Encore from Colorado. Boneyard currently up 6-3.
Gilligan with the pole. Close match here today in Lecco, Italy. A little bit of a breeze up top, but we're 15 to 20 feet off the ground. You can see in the background the flags still not affecting the game. Mickle hacked on the mark by Evangelides. Evangelides winning a championship with Carleton. A new addition to his Revolver squad.
Evangelides is a rookie, but gained experience with some of the Revolver guys playing on the San Francisco Flamethrowers, where a lot of the D-line went to play and gain experience in the preseason.
O-line going to play for the San Jose Spiders, and the Spiders taking the championship over the Toronto Rush a few weeks ago.
I'm sure that championship felt good, but for the last couple of weeks, Revolver's eyes have been focused on nothing other than a World Ultimate Club Championship. They will accept nothing less than to repeat as champions.
Mickle looking for an option, flips it to Watson. And more leading passes. Matsuka up the break side. Forche can't lay out for it.
Little bit of wind coming behind Matsuka just caused that disc to drop. It looks like there may be a call, though.
An injury taken by Forche. Not feeling too great, and we'll see Ryan Farrell come on the field. Farrell has been dealing, I believe, with a hip injury, but has played through the pain. We saw him collide during warm-ups, saying it was fine, just a little bit of pain. Instead, we'll see Stanley Peterson step on the field. Disc checked back in. Boucher will pick it up.
It's actually Tim Gilligan, the backwards cat. Gilligan out of San Jose State has really come into its own as his second year on the Revolver squad. His big pulls have helped them in some key games on the defensive line.
More Mama Bird alumni matchups. Peterson against Kittredge. Revolver with a chance to take the lead. Kawoka checks the disc back in. Gilligan. Kawoka finds Kittredge. Kittredge being hacked in the mark by Peterson. Levy. Dahlman. Dahlman has been pushed around a little bit, involved in some collisions, but still playing through. Kawoka. Fake steep. And Ream on the ground after a collision.
There's been a lot of injuries and unnecessary contact in this game. nothing, thank goodness, has been too serious as Reem is back up on his feet.
Play restarts. Evangelides. Looking back, finding Kittredge. Pick called. Kittredge asking game advisor Byron Hicks from the U.S., the other game advisor in the yellow polos. So right now, Evangelides looking to Hicks. They can clarify the rules. They can give consultation on in and out calls. They cannot rule on fouls. Far cry from observers, but still helping speed up the games, as we saw some intense discussions earlier in the week. Finding Kawoka. To Kittredge. Dahlman. Revolver now working it up the field, and a pick called or a foul on the play. Levy will send it back.
All of a sudden, the game pace really slowing down. Lots of calls on this 9-9 point.
The Bravo offense has been sputtering, giving the disc back. They had an 8-5 lead. Going up the line. Looking for an option. Levy just outside the end zone. Levy back to Kittredge. Kittredge. Kawoka wide open.
Kittredge completely faked Bravo out. It just flicks it right into the end zone for the easy score. So Revolver now with the lead.
10-9, they take the break. After a big run, a 5-1 run against Johnny Bravo. The offense will undergo some changes. See Mickle stay on with Lance, Gibson, Keegan, Farrell, Ackley. And I believe I see Clure at all the way on the left side. Watson stepping on, Farrell taking a point off. See Mike Payne on your screen, the head coach of Revolver, played with the team. Mike Payne actually studying, I believe, leadership. Very integral to the part of the culture of this Revolver squad.
Mike Payne is a perfect coach for Revolver because, as Dutchie was before him, is a very no-nonsense kind of guy. And that's what Revolver's culture is built on.
Thanks for the clarification, Sarah. Stanley Peterson actually still has some eligibility left with Mama Bird. Not yet an alum. Still winning the title this season in college. Watson in his own end zone. Out for Gibson. Contact. Gibson survives it from Cochran. Cochran goes off the mark, looking downfield for any options.
Martin Cochran is a savvy player and knows the right lanes to poach in. He's fast enough that he can get back on a mark and uses his height to try to check any downfield options.
Keegan on the ground. Cleat malfunction. Farrell going through trying to untie the shoe, making sure that it was. So we get a nice close-up thanks to Luke Johnson, who's joined our crew. Big thanks to our camera crew throughout this tournament. Hilko, Tim, Pacone, Casper, our replay operator, Mike Palmer, and Jay and Adam. Adam on the switchboard. Adam Knight, our director. And then Adam Lerman, production manager.
Takes a lot of people to run a stream, and our staff has been doing a fantastic job all week.
Can't forget our interviewers, David Price, Rachel Tojnarova, Nikki Smith filling in for commentary earlier this week, and Mickle. It's the disc. As Bravo gets back in action, finding Gibson. Gibson, high release, finding Clore. And a lot of trust placed in Jackson Clore. Not the first name you'd expect to be on this Bravo offensive line after a couple of breaks. Also a nice Colorado Mama Bird player. Nominated for Callahan one of the years. Watson. Watson has the break to Clore for the goal. Bravo gets back on track, 10-10.
It's going to be a game. I don't see any team being able to go on a run. These teams are just too evenly matched.
Shout out to the official photographer of the World Ultimate Club Championships, Ultiphotos. Check out all the great photos on ultiphotos.com. Proud partnership here with Sky Magazine, and also our partnership with 5 Ultimates, supplying all of our swag for the week and our jerseys and hats for our camera crew. Big thanks to 5 Ultimate. Tied at 10s, Revolver with the advantage. Kittredge played a lot of defensive points in the first one. The first half here.
We asked Mike Payne how the offense worked. I said, who calls lines? He said, on defense, I do. And I was wondering who calls lines on offense. He just said the offense does whatever they want. There are about 10 or 11 players that just kind of have that feeling, have that chemistry to go in when they see fit. Now, based on experience and leadership years of the team, there are some players that will kind of defer to the other ones when it comes down to critical situations, but players have enough trust each other that they're able to run that system.
Farrell on the field. Ryan Farrell, one of the elite handler defenders in the game when healthy, played for the World Games squad. Rasmussen along the sideline. Snyder backing Kittredge. Cahill marked by McShane. Another one of those Colorado Mama Bird players for Johnny Bravo. Jeffrey out of Stanford. 6'3", one of those mainstay offensive cutters in the last few years. Does an excellent job of clearing space when needed. Rasmussen, Schlag. Most recent post online by Lou Burris talking about Revolver's offense and their creativity, that they have no rules, just a set of principles on how to do things. Cahill on the back line. Defensive pressure mounting. Foul on the play. Cahill urging on his squad. And Sneeder backing Kittredge as we see Rasmussen in the back of the end zone with the disc in the back corner. Bravo looking for the Callahan. Schlag. Schlag. And call again. Looks like a pick downfield.
It's going to be critical that Schlag swings the discs and opens up different angles to try to get out of the end zone. He's working with a very limited space.
No room to go back. Schlockett gets it off. And the call on the play, calling a push. Bravo will do everything they can to keep the disc in this location. Schlockett will keep it still in the back of the end zone. Kittredge. Rasmussen. Finding Cahill. And another pick or call in the middle of the stack.
This is the 4th call so far. Players really fighting hard, having trouble cleaning everything up.
Cahill. Finding Jeffrey. And another call.
This has got to be some kind of record. 1 call per throw.
Play restarts. Cahill finding Jeffrey. Cahill. The field general talking to correspondent Ryan Thompson about why Cahill gets it done. It's not that he has the best throws. It's not that he's the fastest. It's that he makes the right decision. Whether it means sending it deep in critical situations or staying with his dump. Cahill. Boucher. Schlockett. Joel Schlockett. Long possession here for Revolver. Great patience. Kittredge, Sneeder high.
There was actually a pick call way before that, as this is just getting ridiculous. Players can't clean this up at all.
Cap will come at 100 minutes, and we are starting to get closer. At 10-10, game to 17. At 100 minutes, we'll add 2 to the highest score. The wind here today has been relatively calm, hard to tell. We feel a breeze up where we are at 15 to 20 feet. It hasn't seemed to affect the throwers, maybe slightly popping the disc up. Calm all week after some torrential rains. Rasmussen.
Jordan Jeffrey is being poached off downfield, and he'll go deep.
Jeffrey just before the end zone. Then there's a call all the way back.
And the sideline can't believe it. Ryan Farrell, defensive mistake to leave Jeffrey open. Jeffrey took a while to realize that he was poached and then took off downfield.
Still discussion going on. A pick or a foul in the stack. Some sort of call, we're not sure. Peterson and Boucher arguing it out. They look at the replay. Rasmussen sending it deep to Jeffrey, wide open. Does not look like the play will stand. And Greg Connolly and Byron Hicks will convene with Boucher and Peterson, the game advisors from WIFTIF, this experimental program. Liam, we've got to interview a couple of them this week. They cannot rule on any fouls. They have helped progress the game along.
Jordan Jeffrey, meanwhile, is making sure that Ryan Farrell maintains position, as Jeffrey knows he's still open.
Thank you, Michael Lund, for the shout out. Ryan Farrell also works at the Brewers Association of America.
And just another case of club players looking out for each other. Many of these players in Revolver work for a startup called Location Labs, which is located in Emeryville, California. Justin Safdie was the one who started that trend, former Jam player.
Finding Kittredge, Cahill. And another foul. And the crowd starting to wonder what's going on.
Sam Canner egging the players on the field on.
Cahill also has a signature two-handed backhand. Puts it out for Kittredge. Snyder giving chase. Kittredge walks it in.
Not much you can do about that. Give Bo Kittredge an inch, he will take a mile.
Sneeder was close, not close enough. Revolver holds an 11-10 lead. 15 minutes to soft cap, which will add 2 to the highest score.
Brian, the pace of this game slowed down considerably on the last point. There were too many pick calls and foul calls. I understand the need to win, but I think players should also find a way to clean things up.
It becomes an issue in these situations, even with observers, because all those are going to be called. The only recourse would be if they were unwarranted to be called TMFs, if they were illegitimate travel and pick calls. But after that long point, and this point, remember, started with about a good solid minute of Revolver in the back corner of their own end zone. Bravo offense gets a rest, comes back out. Ryan Morgan, Jesse Ream, Jimmy Mickle, Nick Lance, Sean Keegan, Bart Watson, and Brett Matsuka. Matsuka playing with NC State, formerly of Ring of Fire. First year on Bravo. Nathan White with the pull. Center to Watson. Lance in isolation, side stack. Lance. Mickle. Hunting Watson. Watson puts it deep for Mickle. Mickle has steps, and he walks it in. Back-to-back Hucks. Revolver executes and Bravo executes.
Are we looking at a mirror? It's been Jimmy Mickle and Bo Kittredge these last 2 points.
At 11-11, Revolver was down by 3, 8-5, rallied back on a 5-2 run. Bo Kittredge playing a lot of defensive points. Revolver with the edge.
Just a score update from the other semifinal. Sockeye is up 10-3 on Colony, the outfit from Sydney, Australia. Looks like we'll be seeing Sockeye in the final if everything goes to their plan.
Could be a rematch of 2010 in Prague with Sockeye versus Revolver. Lance staying on for the defensive point after the quick one. Lance, Smith, Clore, Farrell, Gibson, Conker. Take a look at some of the fans along the sideline. Some teams still playing consolation games. Smith. University of Florida alumni, won a national championship in 2010 over Carleton. Revolver finds Cahill, now Kittredge. Wiseman along the sideline. Physical downfield conquer on Kosednar and a call.
Foul called.
Disc is checked back in. Wiseman. Sanchez. Lance forcing Cahill out. Finds Kittredge. Kittredge and Gibson, former teammates this year in the AUDL. Cahill. Cahill for Kosednar. Kittredge. Travel called. Gibson on Kittredge, and actually it's going to be a foul on the mark. Coming in on 0.
Revolver with 4 handlers back, isolating Sanchez.
That's something they'll frequently do. A lot of times they'll leave players behind the disc, letting cutters downfield operate in free space. Schlag flips it in. Gibson gets a hand on it. Not before Kosednar puts it out to space. Leading pass to Kittredge. Stays in bounds.
Very creative throw from Chris.
An easy goal to Rasmussen. Kosednar with the vision, Kittredge with the assist.
Chris Kosednar really broke Revolver out of a bit of a funk. Their offense looks stagnant. Bravo is doing a good job locking on the downfield cutters, and sometimes you need someone with creative field vision like that that can open up your offense.
12-11, Revolver with the advantage. 10 minutes till soft cap. Doesn't look like we'll make it to 17 today as we see the replay. Kosednar, no hesitation either. Gibson tried to poach off for the D. Great defensive pressure by both squads. Revolver's points have slowed to a crawl at the average point being around 10 throws, 2 minutes in ultimate. Significantly has increased in these later stages. The depth that we've talked about on both sides, 54 of some of the greatest ultimate players you're going to see on the field today. Sure to tweet at us still. We love to hear your shout-outs. I'm Brian Jones with Liam Rosen on Sky Magazine. You can take a look at our Twitter names, Sky_Liam Rosen, no_look_Scuba. Gilligan with the poll for Revolver. Late stages here on Sky Magazine in Lecco, Italy. 2014 World Ultimate Club Championships, the Men's Open Semifinal. Finding Ream. Ream stays in bounds. For an option to Mickle. Saw Cochran. Mickle bobbles it. Cochran was poaching off from Westbrook. Call on the play. Travel potentially called on Ream.
Sockeye up 11-4 on Colony in the other semifinal. Some players from the Bay Area Polar Bears have showed up to cheer on Revolver. Several Revolver players made the jump from Polar Bears to Revolver this year. They've picked up former Bear Eli Kearns.
Mickle finding Westbrook. Matsuka. Back to Watson. Call on the play once again. Watson restarts play. Finds Mickle. Mickle just runs in a fashion that looks like a stampede coming through. 6'3", big body, hard to get around. Mickle.
He's one of those players you sometimes think about. Some people, you see them on TV, like, oh, you look bigger on TV. Mickle is way bigger in real life than he looks on the internet.
Cochran poaches off. Ream gets it to Keegan. Lance. Quick flip to Keegan. Bravo solves the puzzle. 12-12.
No team's able to gain an advantage as the cap about 6.5 minutes from going off.
Let's take a look at the replay. Bravo able to break through the poach. Lance to Keegan. Both defenses a bit flummoxed on how to deal with both of these sides' offense. You're seeing just very patient offenses here today, dumping and swinging, the reset game. Not too much clogging by both squads. A lot of smart clearing. Defensive line out for Johnny Bravo. Gibson, Clore, Sneeder, McShane, Peterson, Mangan. An offensive line out for Revolver, Boucher, Rasmussen, Kasednar, Kittredge, Cahill, Schlockett, and Simon Higgins. Deep pull. Schlockett will field it to Rasmussen. Cahill in isolation on Gibson. Cahill trying to step through. Gibson very physical on the mark. No foul called. Higgins to Rasmussen. Schlockett. Kasednar. Rasmussen. Snyder tries to go for the poach D. Higgins. Going to the end zone. Schlockett. Layout attempt. Morrissey going for it. Revolver gets another one, 13-12.
Evan Boucher, the field vision to just jam it right into the end zone. Joel Schlockett, a player that a lot of people don't really talk about. He is a quiet, consistent contributor to Revolver.
Take a look at the replay. Morrissey with the great attempt. Not enough. As they say for Revolver's motto, you often hear him cheering, what is it, not enough? Offensive line back on the field for Bravo, trying to keep pace. 4 minutes away from cap, and this may be the last point that we have before we add two. Nick Lance Jesse Ream, Sean Keegan, Brett Matsuka, Bart Watson, Jimmy Mickle, and Ryan Morgan on the field. Sky Magazine's coverage here at the 2014 World Ultimate Club Championships. In the open division, the semifinal, San Francisco Revolver up 13-12 on Denver Johnny Bravo.
These teams split games at the U.S. Open. Bravo took the pool play game, but Revolver went up when it mattered. Talking to Coach Bob Cryer from Bravo before the game, I asked him, what did you learn from that game? He said, well, Revolver steps it up in elimination games.
Watson will walk it to the brick. Vertical stack. Bravo has used this to do a simple set play. Finding Lance. Underneath. Throws into a poach. Zach Travis. Confusion on who that was intended for. Timeout called by Revolver. A chance to go up by 2. Bravo in dire straits here on Sky Magazine.
Nick Lance just a little bit too much gusto with this air bounce. Zach Travis leaping in to make the D.
Just to be clear, I just wanted to know what you were looking at on that throw. That's what I exactly said. Did he look like he was wearing a red uniform? I mean, he caught it two-handed. It was almost a talent. So it's just like, oh, and we got that Tito.
Back here in the second half of the Open semifinal, Revolver with a 13-12 lead and looking to extend. Defense out in the field, just taking a timeout. Immediately after the miscue, Nick Lance, miscommunication, looking for either Mickle or Ryan Morgan. Lance has had a couple of turnovers, one throw deep to Mickle. See, I'm Brian Jones here with Liam Rosen. Should have tweeted us. It's 8 a.m. on the East Coast in the U.S. Some of us I know some of you guys are already up early here, maybe a bit distracted at work today. Revolver close to winning this one and heading on to the finals. Will likely be the last point before cap. Going deep to win. And Travis just comes right to him. Reem and Keegan with a miscommunication. 14-12. Cap not on yet, according to our clock. We'll have to check in, see exactly when it comes on. Dolbin sending it deep. And Keegan comes inside.
Great read by Zach Travis to follow the play. He actually took a couple steps back. He was waiting for either a MAC or all players to misjudge, which is exactly what happened as Revolver grabs a couple of quick ones.
We'll have one of our associates figure out the cap situation in a moment. Currently 14-12, and we have reached the 100 minutes. Question of whether it will be a game to 16. Potentially a game to 17, depending on who scores this point.
Johnny Bravo has gone all out for a world championship. They have put all their eggs in one basket. When asked before the tournament, given a choice between nationals and worlds, they want to win the world championship to prove they truly are the best team in the world.
They have to go through Revolver to do it. Down by 2, centers to Watson. Gibson. Gibson going deep for Lance, wide open. Nick Lance.
Easy score for Bravo. Now they'll put their defensive line on and look for a break.
We checked in with our correspondents and our producer Adam Lerman. It is a game to 16. Revolver with the edge. Bravo will have to make several defensive stands.
Shout out to Malaki from Querétaro, Mexico. They just messaged me on Twitter. Everyone is awake 6:30 a.m. in Mexico to watch this semifinals game.
Take a look again. Gibson.
Nick Lance, the Callahan winner. Probably one of the most clear cases for a Callahan win of all time.
Oh, and he had a great video and great music, edited by Chain Lightning teammate and Georgia Tech teammate at the time, Jake Clark.
You want to have a good time, go back and check out that Nick Lance Callahan video.
Bravo gearing up in the huddle for the last run. We're going to stick with you throughout this timeout. Revolver's offensive line out on the field. Schlockett, Rasmussen, Higgins, Kittredge, Cahill, Kosednar. And I think I see Alex Evangelides, which would be in a different call. Oh, that's actually Jordan Jeffrey, number 23.
Jeffrey's third year with the team. Joined after his graduation from Stanford University in 2012. So Kurt Gibson will pull for Johnny Bravo. Gibson, previously with double wide, has though been living in Colorado for the past couple of years. Finally makes the jump to Bravo this year.
Gibson, McShane, Lance, Farrell, Sneeder, Clore, and Stanley Peterson round out the defensive line. Bravo doesn't have much time left. Revolver needs 2 to put it away and make it to the finals. Schlockett. Will this one drift out of bounds? It will, giving Revolver the disc at the brick mark. Question will be who will guard Kittredge, and it's none other than Kurt Gibson. Kurt Gibson, actually, one of the terrific stories of Ultimate, recovered from colon cancer to come back and play this game and to be an elite athlete and come all the way back from that. An incredible story. Winning a national championship with double wide, world championship with Revolver as Team USA. Cahill calling the play.
The matchups on this field are worthy of an all-star game. Higgins and Sneeder.
Gibson on Kittredge. Now to Higgins. Higgins fakes deep. Kittredge hanging high. Gibson can't get in front of it. Sednar. Kittredge. Gibson jumping at the chance for any possible D. Rasmussen. McShane on Kosednar. Looking out for Cahill. Cahill tips it and grabs it.
There's going to be a switch as Gibson back on Cahill. Lance is switched on to Bo.
And a miss. Communication out for Cahill. Gibson with the disc. And Bravo calls the timeout. They'll take a moment. Bravo with a momentum and chance to tie here in Sky Magazine. Back here in the second half, Revolver leading 14-13 over Johnny Bravo. I'm Brian Jones with Liam Rosen on Sky Magazine's coverage of the 2014 World Ultimate Club Championships. Bravo gets the turn. Gibson with the disc off the timeout. Lance downfield as a cutter. Sneeder on the far sideline. Kittredge poaching deep. In these cases, it's often been the Kurt Gibson show with give and goes up the sideline, finding Farrell. Farrell to Sneeder. Sneeder wants to get rid of it right away. Sneeder to Farrell. Cahill gets the D.
Cahill poaching in on that disc, nearly a collision. Robbie doing a great job to avoid contact.
Back to Kittredge. Letting Schlockett, and Lance is on the ground. From online, Joran Sanders. As Brody played a point since 1-1, Brody's played a few points throughout this game. Still recovering from injury on that defensive line. Back to Schlockett. Schlockett, Rasmussen, Lance pulls up. Looking for Higgins, Sneeder around the back.
Sneeder, a dangerous bid onto Higgins's back.
High release to Cahill. The call on the play. Cahill calls the timeout, and Revolver will take a rest.
And a decent timeout call there because Cahill had no dump opportunity, no dump options.
We're in the cap. This is a game to 16. This is our open semifinals coverage on Sky Magazine. Revolver with the 14-13 lead. And it's been a great game so far, Liam. At 8-5, as we take a look here, Sneeder, you could just tell the way he was uncomfortable with his hands, and Cahill comes in. Farrell can't grab it. 8-5, Johnny Bravo looked to be in control. 1D by Bo Kittredge. Set the momentum into Revolver. Take a look at their huddle.
Mix things up. Simon likes the test.
Hey, if you get into the flow, keep running. It's working. They're tired. Yeah. Come on, work them. Hey, use your legs. Use your legs.
Revolver will break. Big thanks to our organizer, Elliot Trotter, for bringing us here to Lecco, Italy. Had a lot of help along the way. It's been a fun 3 weeks. We have one more day tomorrow, one more game today, Women's Masters Final. Coming up next, a half hour after this one. Sure to tune in and show your support for Women's Ultimate. And then tomorrow we have the 3 finals in the stadium, mixed final, women's and open. That restarts Cahill, trying to break the mark, finding Higgins, and a call. Cahill will talk it over with Lance.
And Ryan Farrell guarding Chris Kasednar is calling for help from Bart Watson on the sideline.
Higgins will keep the disc. Flips it out. Lance tries to read the play too late. Sednar. Play stops. Pick downfield. Sednar back to Cahill. So close. The razor-thin margins we're seeing on these resets is incredible. Lance has made some great reads, but is so close to getting that block. Kittredge. Foul called. Gibson on the bump. Coming in on 0. Contact rule is a bit different in whiff-diff rules. It does not go straight to 0. It goes -2. Back to Kasednar. For Cahill. Rasmussen. Out to Kittredge. You put the high pass and look to the goal. Schlockett. Revolver gets it in for the 15-13 lead.
Joel Schlockett seems to be in the right place at the right time every time for San Francisco Revolver. 7-year veteran out of UC Berkeley. Being given a lot of trust and developed chemistry with these players over the years.
The final line potentially goes out in the field as we're at game point for Revolver. Take a look, Rasmussen. When you have a target like Kittredge, you can afford to put it up. His net for catching is just a little bit wider than everybody else's. Talking to Mike Payne about the 2009 final before this Revolver team became so dominant and so known is that they'd been a team for 3 years, he said. They didn't really quite know what they were doing at that point in time and really transitioned to lead them to this depth. You can see Kittredge not on the field. Complete defensive line. As Matsuka will field the pull for Bravo. Matsuka to Watson. Nickel in isolation and a call on the play. There's no stoppage here on the travel calls.
And Eli Kearns out of position.
Lance to Watson. Watson out to Matsuka. The wind has started to pick up here.
There's a call in the field. That last call, potentially dangerous situation for Revolvers. Some of the players, Kearns did not realize there was not a call and had let his defender get open deep.
No whiff-diff rules in the travel. If there's not a throw, there's no stoppage. It's a check and back into play. Watson. So I'm trying to direct traffic for an option. Has none, but Mickle saves the day. Mickle to Lance. Cochran giving chase. Finding Keegan. Watson commanding this offensive line as the center handler. Matsuka. High arc to Lance. Lance. And a call. The middle of the stack.
Love the composure on that throw from Matsuka. He was showing the hammer for the longest time. Just flips it up onto the near sideline for Nick Lance.
Lance. Fits it into Matsuka. Bravo still alive.
Nick Lance showing why he has some of the best throws and pivots in the game.
The extension he gets, and the separation from the mark is remarkable. Great inside look. Gets Cochran off balance. And again, it's the ability to keep his balance most of the way through the pivot. It's the secret to his success. There's no more room for error for Bravo. Revolver was down 8-5 on a 5-2 run. They took command of the game, got another break. Bravo has to break here to tie. As it's a game to 16, they would have to break again to win.
Winning team will face Sockeye in the final game as they dismantled Colony from Australia 17-4 in the semifinal.
Whichever team would win this game would likely be the favorite over Seattle Sockeye, although could not consider them no slouch themselves. Potentially a rematch if Revolver is perfect here of the 2010 final in Prague. Gibson.
We're going to see Josh Wiseman on this offensive line from Revolver, one of the original Revolver players from the team in 2006.
Pole drifts out of bounds. We'll give Revolver a more favorable start. Looks like they will be isolating Wiseman. Conquer in the deep position. And we've seen in these situations, Cahill, first throw for the goal. Wiseman going deep. Conquer giving chase. Conquer versus Wiseman. Conquer gets the tip.
Henry Conquer climbs the ladder. He came up big last year in the regionals final for Bravo, doing it again here. Bravo with a chance to tie.
They had one other chance, and now we'll go with Gibson. Walks it to the line, marked by Kasednar. Running Farrell to Peterson. Peterson, Gibson, to Clore. Clore to Gibson. Gibson will have to do it with not too much offensive firepower, and Conquer flips it. Schlag with the read.
Chris Kasednar looked like he was going to pick up the disc, and Revolver will take their time. Just a miscommunication between Conquer and Gibson.
Gibson matched up against Kittredge. This for the win. Cahill to Kittredge. Kittredge! Revolver goes to the final.
And Revolver will ride their star. Who else but Bo Kittredge on the route to the World Ultimate Club Championships finals.
Take a look again. Cahill trusting Kittredge. Gibson frustrated. Bravo had their chances late in the game. Didn't have the cutting firepower. Sneeder with the turnover, and Clore looking for Gibson. On the final point, Revolver 16, Bravo 14. Stay tuned here. We do a little bit of post-game coverage. Teams will shake hands and go into the Spirit Circle. Tomorrow's final will be Revolver, San Francisco versus Seattle. Sockeye taking down Colony, the other side of the bracket. In the game here, Bo Kittredge just dominated.
I think it was Bo, but I don't think Bo was everything. Revolver used their deep roster, their defensive line came out, generated a lot of turns. Joel Slockett was big, Evan Boucher. Every player played a role.
And Nick Schlag, what presence of mind and awareness. Seeing the give and go. With no options left on the field, Bravo relied on Gibson a little bit too much. As they form for the Spirit Circle, Bravo will have another chance, multiple ones through this year to dethrone Revolver. Revolver last time, they won 2012 in Sakai, failed to also secure the double peak. Before that, they won in Prague and then took the national title for the first time. And they get together. And this has been our coverage here for Liam Rosen. I'm Brian Jones, Guide Magazine. We'll be back with the Women's Masters Final soon, but now we'll head into the Spirit Circle, interview to come, and also stay tuned for some highlights.
You pushed us to our breaking points throughout that game at a number of points. It's humbling to share the field with you guys, to see you guys working so hard in a game like that, knowing that you want it just as bad as we do.
I think these people right here in this circle are what is going to make Ultimate successful in the future. You guys are an incredible team. We're an incredible team. We don't cheat. We just fucking go out there. We handle our business. And I think when people watch this from the stands across the world, they're going to see what Ultimate can be. So in the future, when Ultimate is the sickest sport on the planet, it's going to be us in this circle that did it. So awesome job, guys. Way to play the game the right way.
Nobody else challenges us the way that you guys do. down to every little detail. So when we get into this game, that buzz game, it's not even the same game. And when we face you guys, your attention to detail and the way that stretches us and makes us uncomfortable, it's those things. It's this game that that keeps pushing us, and we don't give a shit about anything, any championship, until we fucking take it from you. I'm here with Cassidy and Bo from Revolver. That was a great game, Cassidy. You guys had a bit of a struggle in the first half with a few breaks, but you got it back, particularly in the second half. How did it go from your perspective?
Our team is built on that grind, and I think our DD did a great job of tiring them out early. We were close to a couple chances, but we couldn't get them. At the end of that first half and the beginning of the second half, we really came out a lot harder, and those things that were close were becoming Ds, and we took advantage.
And yesterday, Bo, you had a great game against Clapham in the quarterfinal. Would you like to say any words about that game?
That was a hard-fought game, much harder than we had ever anticipated. And quite frankly, we were not ready for the type of level that they brought to us, and it definitely caught us off guard. And if we hadn't have rallied right at the end, it could have been them playing against Bravo. Glad we won that game.
And tomorrow you have Sockeye. You play these guys regularly back in America. What sort of, not to give anything away, but what's the sort of mentality and tactics going into that game?
We love playing those guys. We love playing Sockeye just like we love playing Bravo. We know they're going to fight every step of the way. We know they're not going to give us anything, and they play a little bit different than these guys. They're going to do a lot of short, quick movements, so we got to switch our mindset up about how we're playing defense. But yeah, we're incredibly lucky to play them. We love playing them. We know that they're not going to give us anything.
Well, good luck. And Cassie, you have a little little message for home?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get another chance at this. I hope I do, but I wanted to say hi to the family reunion going on in Lake Wildwood. Say hi to Sue. I love you. I miss you guys.
Thanks very much, guys, and good luck tomorrow. Thank you very much. This is the end of our coverage for today. For now, we'll have the Women's Masters coming up, but check Sky Magazine for the schedule.